welcome everyone to another week. The Focus TV is season 5, episode 39. Joined as always by our crew. We have Octavia Wyatt, Raymond Lyons, Cardell Dudley Jr., and Wilson Tarpe Jr. And we got quite a bit to get through. We're getting another week closer to the start of the NFL season. The WNBA regular season is in its final stretch. So Ray will have an update on the Mystics for you. Kettle League playoffs. The champion has been crowned. Cardell's going to get to that a little bit later. Some more DC United news. No more rumors. Things that have happened, either happened or didn't. We'll get to that. And then we'll have rapid fire as always. And the sports world has not disappointed us the last month or so, in giving us a ton of worthwhile topics. I'm sure they didn't let us down this week either. Octavia, we'll start with you. What's going on at NFC East as we approach, week 1 of the new 3-week preseason?
Yes, so preseason officially started last week with the Hall of Fame game. But this week, everybody will get a preseason game. So most teams are getting prepared for that. Everybody's in full pads. There are some injuries, and then there's just some crazy things that have been happening in training camps. So I'll go ahead and start with the Washington Commanders. Today was probably the best showing for Carson Wentz. The offense has been a little bit inconsistent in training camp, which honestly I would probably attribute to just the fact that he's trying to learn the playbook and trying to learn his targets. So it's been a little bit up and down, but today was the first day where he had a consistent good day. So probably one of the best practices for him so far. The biggest news really coming out of Washington's camp is that Ron Rivera actually fired their defensive line coach, Sam Mills. Sam Mills has been with him since Ron Rivera was a coach in Carolina since 2011. So he's citing that it's just a difference in philosophy that they're going through, and he just felt like it was time for them to move on. So that's kind of a little bit concerning just to me, just because, granted, we're not that close to the beginning of the season, but to be this deep into training camp and after OTAs and you're just now finding out that you guys are on 2 different pages, is a little concerning, but nonetheless, it's always best to nip it in the bud when you can, and for him to see that it's just not something that's working out for them. As far as injuries, Curtis Samuels, who of course only played in 5 games last season, he was back to practice, but they're still taking it very, very easy with him. They haven't said he has a specific injury or anything of the sort. Just, of course, he had the groin injury and hamstring issues as well. But they're just taking it day by day for him. They're just trying not to give him too much. They want to make sure that he's back conditioned in the football conditioning shape, to make sure that he's not overexerting his body and have any injuries going into the season. But good news for them. Running back Antonio Gibson did return to full team work after being limited with a hamstring issue. So him getting back in the fold, of course, being their running back is definitely helpful for them. So right now, they're just getting prepared for their preseason game. That's going to be on the 13th, which is going to be this Saturday versus the Carolina Panthers. So we'll see how that goes for that. It's just funny that they're playing against Carolina. But yeah, so that's what's going on for Washington. On to another team in the NFC East, the New York Giants. The biggest story is this crazy melee that they had in their training camp. Apparently, it started with they were doing drills. Saquon Barkley apparently lowered his shoulder a little bit too much for the defensive people to appreciate. And it just started a big thing. The biggest news is the coach, offensive line coach Bobby Johnson, actually got involved and pushed the outside linebacker Cam Johnson. Feliciano came in there swinging. I don't know. I personally don't understand why people are swinging when people have helmets on. Like, I don't know what you think you're going to connect except breaking your hand, but apparently that's just what they do. So the coach has come out and apologized. He stated that he felt that he was wrong in the situation, and that, he apologized to all the appropriate people. And it's just another thing, but it's kind of crazy because it also says that the biggest story was the melee, but it kind of overshadowed the fact that Daniel Jones had another pretty bad, inconsistent day. This was just, they didn't like that. For me, I would like it because Saquon, we need him to kind of get back, So, if you're there, then, you might want to move out the way. So, it is what it is. I know it's training camp and they're not really happy about it, but hey. But like I said, it kind of overshadowed the fact that Daniel Jones had a pretty poor day, and he's been having a lot of those recently. He finished their practice 5 of 15 with 2 interceptions. And Kadarius Toney, who's also, pretty much had a lot of injuries last year as well. He dropped 3 passes during the practice as well, so that didn't help Daniel Jones. Kadarius is also having more injury issues as of now. They held a very light practice today, and just because it was super hot out there, so especially with the melee they had yesterday, I would guess that you would think they get a harder practice, because I would probably be pissed at my team. But he appeared to grab his hamstring after running a route, and later had his right leg worked on by a trainer. So another downfall for them, because we know that he's had numerous issues last year. Like I said, only playing in 5 games. I'm sorry, that was criticism, but not playing a lot. And he had a knee procedure last year, so it's kind of troubling that he's already having some issues in training camp. So hopefully they're able to get him back, or hopefully able to keep him healthy as the season's getting ready to start soon. Of course, they're going to have their preseason game. Their preseason game is going to be on Thursday versus the Patriots. So they are getting prepared for that. Next up, I'll go to my Philadelphia Eagles. Right now, Devontae Smith is out with a groin injury. They don't seem to think it's too threatening. Like, they don't think it's a big deal at this point. They're just really resting him and not taking, any chances. And it's also given time for Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown to get acclimated to each other, which has been going well. Jalen still is also having up and down training camps as well, days during training camp as well, with, of course, the inconsistencies. But he's working through them. And Quez Watkins is also starting to shine a little bit more. I definitely think he's going to make the team. If not, he'll definitely be at least the fourth in depth chart behind Devontae, A.J. Brown, and probably Zach Pascal, who, of course, had food poisoning, but he's getting stronger and coming back as well. Center Jason Kelsey had a routine elbow surgery a couple days ago, and just to clean out some lingering discomfort that he's been going through. So Cam Jurgens right now is filling in for him. And if you haven't seen it by now, I'm sure everybody has, the viral video of Jordan Davis just kind of bull rushing Cam Jurgens pretty far back. It was nice to see. I mean, it's still training camp. I personally think that Jordan Davis is going to have a great year. It's crazy to think that right now, as good as he looks as a rookie, he's probably third on the depth chart behind Fletcher and Hargrave. So, but I'm sure he's going to get in the mix pretty soon and pretty often. So that's good signs for them. And he's just a beast. I mean, he's huge at that. And I mean, they had a Sunday night practice open to the public. So it was like 30,000 people there. So that's just kind of crazy to me for open practice. There was 30,000 people there. But they are still working through again. They're going to play their preseason game this Friday versus the Jets. And last but not least, Dallas Cowboys. Dak, they had their first padded practice recently. Dak looks just like Dak has always looked. I think Dak is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He ended their session 17 of 23 passes and a 7 of 7 team drills on Monday. CeeDee Lamb is showing up a little bit more. Of course, he has to be the number one for them with the injuries to James Washington and then the two behind them. So it's going to be interesting to see how big of a focal point it's going to be to make sure that CeeDee Lamb is involved in the passing game as much as possible. The biggest story really is just the kicker competition that's going on out there. At first, it was pretty lackluster, but as of now, the Cowboys are bringing in a familiar kicker to kind of ramp up the competition. So Brett Meyer, who kicked for the Cowboys in 2018 and 2019, he will be brought back in for a new tryout. I mean, I feel like Cowboys fans have opinions on that because he wasn't stellar when he was there. But outside of the people that they have there, they have to bring in some more people. They're also bringing in Jonathan Garibay and former CFL star Laram. I'm not going to say his last name because it's terrible for me to say. So they're trying to see what they're going to do with this kicking game. We know how important kickers are in the systems, so that's probably the biggest thing for them. They are going to have their preseason game on the 13th, which again is a Saturday, versus the Denver Broncos. So that should be interesting as well. So again, I'm just really ready for any type of football to get here. I mean, I watched most of the Hall of Fame game. It did get pretty boring maybe like halfway through. So I think it's a lot better when you have your own team playing preseason. If you're that into it, you can see, all the people that are probably not going to play much during the season, but if something happens to your starters, you'll be able to have just a look of who could possibly fill in for them. So I'm just at this point ready for the season to get started. We'll have the first preseason game this Thursday.
Yeah, and I definitely look forward to all of these super scorching hot takes about week 1 of preseason football.
Yes.
Because
yeah,
the season will be
crazy.
defined this week on Saturday. All right, Ray, what's been going on with the Mystics? We know we're getting to the end of the regular season for the WNBA.
Yeah, man. The Mystics are kind of limping into the playoffs here. They're 2-3 in their last 5 games. And it's point blank, man, it's just been inconsistency. They had a back-to-back series against Seattle. Played them tough in a loss, then came back and beat them. Then a couple days after that, came back and beat the Aces, but had an embarrassing showing against the Sky, and then dropped one to the Sparks. Yeah, man, they just haven't been able to kind of string together, good performances lately. And they're ending the season against the Indiana Fever, who's the worst team in the league. So hopefully they could get them out the way these last 2 games and kind of go into the postseason on a high note. But yeah, man, it's just they just haven't been able to perform, man. Even early in the season, we talk about how they were trying to find identity with Elena being in and out, but she's been playing. She's been in a bad shooting slump. Who knows what that's about, but yeah, man, the only 2 that have been really consistent are Maisha Hines-Allen and Shakira Austin. And also Tori Walker-Kimber off the bench has been providing some added sparks for them. But yeah, man, they just look disjointed at times. The offense isn't clicking. Defensively, they're still scrapping and still playing hard. But if you can't put the ball in the basket at a consistent rate and you turn the ball over, then your defense can only do so much. Because if you're taking bad shots and turn the ball over, 9 times out of 10, your defense isn't having a chance to set up. So that kind of nullifies that. So, yeah, man, they just got to find a rhythm on both ends. We've seen flashes of it. They've had good stretches throughout the season, but, this is the time where you really need to be on point. Teams are in championship mode. We've seen what the Sky and the Aces have been doing throughout the entire season. And even it looks like at this point, their first round matchup is going to be Seattle. And Breanna Stewart, of course, has been playing at a high level the entire season, of course, and they want to send Sue Bird out on a high note. So yeah, man, they got to be ready. I'm sure Coach T-Ball is drilling these things in them. We know what his expectations are. We know what the expectations were for this team coming into the season. It's good that they're back in the playoffs, but they were supposed to be one of those teams that were in the championship conversation. And, they just haven't met those expectations. We talked about it on Mystics Outlook after the Sky game. The Sky is one of those teams. They're defending champs. They're at the top of the standings. And that's the time when you got to show, hey, we belong here too. And they didn't look like they belonged. The Sky ran right through them. And then to follow that up with the loss to the Sparks, who were fighting for their playoff lives, it's just not a good sign heading into the second season, man. These last 2 games are really going to tell a lot about where their heart is going into the playoffs. Yeah, you're playing the worst team in the league, but this is a good opportunity to kind of get your rhythm back and get your feet up under you and head in with some type of momentum. Because yeah, like I said, they're 2-3 in their last 5. You got to win these 2 games. You can't drop games to the team that has the best chance of getting the first pick in the draft, especially when you're in the team in the position of the Mystics with the talent they have on their roster and what they're aiming to do. heading into the playoffs. And me, you, and Cardell speak a lot about it, like that championship window is closing. Since they won it in 2019, the last 2 years have been super abnormal. Of course, 2020 they were in the bubble, and 2021 that was probably the most injury ravaged season I've ever seen for a professional sports team. So, I mean, you can't take these chances for granted, man. And they just have to capitalize. So yeah, man, we all know how Coach C rolls. So I'm sure that's the message he's sending to them. And then with Natasha Cloud and Ariel Atkins there with their development and them kind of coming along, those expectations are going to be greater on them. They're in the conversation for to be one of those top backcourts in the league, but they got to get on the court and prove it. They've gotten better, but for them to be a championship team, both of them, they have to be on point. And Alicia Clark, she hasn't been performing well as a late either. Offensively, she's been pretty much absent. Defensively, still kind of holding her weight, but they need her. They got her to space the floor, give Elena some room and create driving lanes. But yeah, man, her shot has been falling. Then the last game, she only took 2 shots. So that's got to change, man. Hopefully they can get it right and maximize their potential for the playoffs and go on the run. But yeah, they really need to use these last 2 games to springboard that and kind of get their legs back up under.
Yeah, and we're gonna find out how they fare in those last 2 games and what the playoffs look like by the time we talk to you guys next week. Again, the last 2 regular season games, like Ray said, are this week. One on the road, one at home. I think on Sunday. At the ESA. We're going to take our first break. When we get back, Cardell's going to let you guys know how the Kennel League playoffs went, who was crowned champ, and then we'll get some DC United on the other side of the break as well. You're watching the Focus TV. Welcome back to the Focus TV. Cardell, the floor is yours. Kennel League.
Throughout the summer, we all said that guard play was the X factor throughout the summer as far as Kennel League is concerned, into determining who would go the furthest and be the last team standing. And Sunday proved that to be some wise analysis on our part, because that was exactly the difference in the game. As the McClellan All-Stars defeated AWash 102-91 to capture the 2022 Kennel League Championship. The shot making from Eric Green, Virginia Tech alum and pro. Cam Taylor plays overseas as well, who posted a game-high 25 points. And the defense and controlling of the game, the controlling of the pace of the game from Jeremy Roach, who's at Duke. Rob Lowry, DMV folks know him on the Summer League circuit, know him as Jamaican Rob. Today he plays overseas. And it just proved to be too much for AWash to handle. Despite the services of Brian Crawford, who's been amazing this summer. Former Wake Forest guard, plays in high level in EuroLeague. Najee Marshall, who played for New Orleans Pelicans. Jamarco Pickett, former Hoya, just got done playing with the Detroit Pistons, and current Hoya Brad Ezewaro. Look, the guard play just kind of overwhelmed Crawford because they sent bodies at him, man. They saw what he did in the semifinals when he had about 9 threes, he had 5 in the first half, and he just bombed and hit the game winner. They knew what it was, so yeah. Eric Green started out on him. Then he saw Jeremy Roach, and then he saw Xavier Johnson, who's still on that team as well, from Indiana. He saw Rob Lowry and Cam Taylor. He had to go through about 5 or 6 guards. They made sure he did not get going, and they made sure he didn't get the other players on his team going. So they basically said, Najee, you're going to have to play an all-world game to beat us. And, he had moments, but he wasn't able to do it. AWash actually got off to a fast start. I think they were leading 14-5. It looked like Najee and Brian Crawford picked right up where they left off. And, credit McClellan, head coach, who I'm not familiar with. He made a hell of an adjustment. He put in a defensive lineup. He took the starters out, and he put a lineup of Eric Green, Jeremy Roach, Xavier Johnson from Indiana, with Julian Reese, who's at Maryland, and Dante Scott, who's at Maryland, and then substitute whichever guard got tired with Jamaican Rob Lowry. And like I say, all 4 of those guards, get on Brian Crawford. Don't let him get off. That's how I went. We don't think anybody else could beat us. And Dante Scott and Julian Reese was blocking shots, and Dante Scott was guarding Najee Marshall, and that allowed them to get back in the game. They took the lead at the half, 49-43, and then in the second half, they pretty much maintained control. I know A-Watch made it close with about 8 minutes left, but then they just bombed them. They just started torching them, and that's where having good guard play helps, because now y'all can take turns breaking guys down and finding guys. You know what I'm saying? So it was just hard for A-Wash to kind of pinpoint who to slow down, because once they kind of slow down one guard and another somebody else, like you slow down Eric Green. Eric Green, Jeremy Rose get a couple buckets, then Cam Taylor get a couple buckets. It was just it was like you plug one hole, then another lead come out, and they cruised at the end. They opened the lead, and they got the W. Won the championship. Well deserved. Great game, and it just shows you, man, you need depth to win the Kennel League. It's not enough to be top heavy. You're not gonna make it too far, man. And then that's pretty much all I want. I definitely want to appreciate the powers that be at Georgetown, Van Johnson Jr., one of my vets. Look, the Georgetown fraternity is a tight knit group, and they just don't let everybody come in, man. So. For them to open the doors for us to be the first show to broadcast live from there is special. It should be special, all of us, especially being raised here, because it was a time where they ain't let nobody in. You look, if you're not with Georgetown in any capacity, you can't come to the gym, or you guys sit in the stands and watch. And a lot of that's blamed on I ain't gonna say blame. A lot of that came from the Allen Iverson debut at the Kennel League back in 1994, where he put on a show. It was standing room only, literally, and everybody and their mother tried to get in, and they did get in. So Big John put a stop to that immediately. So that's where all the extra security came from. Georgetown don't really want that to happen anymore, man. But nonetheless, man, great summer. I'm happy it's back, and looking forward to next summer. And as far as the All Kennel League team for the playoffs, had a role with Brian Crawford. Like I said, played for Wake Forest, EuroLeague, Eric Green, Virginia Tech, overseas, Najee Marshall, the New Orleans Pelicans, Jeremy Roach with Duke, and Cam Taylor, who played at Seton Hill. He's in the math alum, played at D2 Seton Hill, and he's overseas as well. And the player of the week for the playoffs is Eric Green. His shot making, he didn't waver. It was consistent shot making, facilitating defensive plays, and leadership all throughout. And he's a big part of the reason why McClinton won the Kennel League championship.
All right, yeah, definitely enjoyed the times I was able to get up there and take in the Kennel League, and shout out to Van as well. I'm already looking forward to next year. See what the rosters look like, and just to be up there, man. Definitely enjoyed the environment. All right, quick update from DC United. We told you guys last week that they had a couple games. Right after we talked to you all, they played both of those games. So I guess we'll start with the bad news first. They went on the road to Charlotte, and they lost 3-0. They then hosted the Red Bulls on Saturday at home at Audi. They played them to a scoreless draw. The defense looked a little bit better, but they just weren't able to capitalize on the offensive end. As far as the defense goes, we know they have a bunch of injuries. That said, there's no excuse for this. They struggled at the back to the point that they've conceded a league-high 47 goals. And they took another blow in that regard when they lost center back Brandon Hines-Ike with a foot injury in the loss to Charlotte. One of the things we talked about were the rumors last week linking DC United to Christian Benteke. Well, after the transfer window closed on the 4th, I believe, then, teams were still able to get deals done, and you didn't have to announce them until the following day, even though the window was closed. We still haven't found out the price tag, but as you can see, they have signed one Christian Benteke. It was announced on the 5th. They signed him from Crystal Palace in the English Premier League on a permanent transfer. He signed for 2.5 years through 2024 with the club option in 2025. Christian has played the last 10 years in the EPL with Aston Villa, Liverpool, and formerly Crystal Palace. During that time, he has scored 86 goals. He's registered 23 assists, in 280 appearances. DC United General Manager Lucy Rushton had this to say: "We're getting an elite striker in Christian, and completing this signing on transfer deadline day is a huge accomplishment of the club. Christian is a dynamic forward who has scored goals at the highest levels. His strength and power will make him a focal point of our team, and his ability to link up play will be a valuable asset to us. We're excited to get Christian integrated with the team so he can make an immediate impact on the field in the final stretch of the season." The Black and Red do play again this week. They'll be on the road in New England to take on the Revs. DC United is still waiting the debuts of. They also acquired David Ochoa, that was within the league from RSL, I believe. And then they have a midfielder, Paulson, and then now, Benteke, that they added to the list. The three of them have not debuted. I think it was announced today by Stephen Goff of Washington Post that Paulson is expected to make his debut this week. I think one of the things Rudy mentioned after last game was we might see Benteke on the 20th back at home when they host the Union. And that also might be the first time all the new players are on the field together. They went out and acquired 6 new players. That said, I'm just waiting to see the price tag. The last 2 times Benteke was moved in the English Premier League, 50 million, 41 million. I do know that they said that this is the highest fee the club has ever put up. So I just want to see how much they spent. And it has to be a lot because it hasn't been leaked or anything. It is still not out there. And again, share with you guys a little bit his resume, but some of the guys they already acquired, you see how they helped. But the crazy thing is what he brings to the table, they're literally missing up top. Someone who can score, and also someone who can make things easier on that end of the field. All year, regardless of what iteration, who was coaching the team, what have you, guys have heard me like a broken record say they have struggled to not capitalize in the final third. We'll see if somebody like Benteke could help in that regard. That said, look, they're still where they are in the standings the last time I talked to you all. We'll see what happens when I check in with you guys next week for DC United. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to get into Rapid Fire. You're watching the Focus TV. Welcome back to the Focus TV. All right, Rapid Fire, Curtis. I know, I think I could guess 4 of the topics you might have, but I'm anxious to see where we go because there's a lot to choose from. I know. Not envious of you having to whittle down which ones you bring to the table. So, all right, the floor is yours, sir. What we got?
Yeah, we definitely gonna start on the NBA side because it's been a topic of discussions. Brooklyn Nets owner Joe Tsai pretty much doubled down on his stance. He voiced his support Monday night for the front office and coaching staff after Kevin Durant told Tsai to choose between him and the team's GM, Sean Marks, and head coach Steve Nash. Tsai and Durant recently met in London. ESPN sources confirmed that Durant reiterated his desire to be traded and suggested the franchise needed to choose between him and coach Steve Nash and general manager Sean Marks. Tsai said, "Our front office and coaching staff have my support. We will make decisions in the best interest of the Brooklyn Nets." At 33 years old, Durant has 4 years and $198 million left on his contract, which means Brooklyn can be patient in waiting out teams for the kind of return of believes will eventually emerge for a star player reaching the trade market in his prime. Octavia, if you were Joe Tsai, how would you handle this situation after Kevin Durant made a demand either choose him or the GM or the head coach?
I mean, I probably wouldn't even be listening to Kevin Durant talk anymore, to be completely honest. Bro, you signed a 4-year contract. I don't have to do anything. But part of it is their fault for giving Kevin the autonomy to do all these things in the beginning. To me, what's crazy is now all of a sudden you want the coach fired, but you was the one that wanted the coach hired. So I need you to make up your mind. It's becoming a lot at this point, and it's just making me think Kevin just looks like a child right now to me, like a child that's not getting his way, even though they gave him his way, but now he wants to change the way that he wanted and that they gave him. So it's like you did all of this, so now you want me to take pennies on a dollar for you to go wherever you want to go to further your career and just leave us like we just got to take an L. No, Like, I honestly, I would call this bluff. Like, what you gonna do? Not play for 4 years? Like, are you? Is that what you're gonna do? Like, because I doubt it. So, because like it just doesn't make any sense, and I don't blame them because they deserve to get a big reward back for however they're going to trade him. Like, it's like he wants to be traded to Miami to play with Jimmy and Bam and all of them. Like, who are they going to get back for you? Like, the people that you want to play with are the people that needs to be traded for you. So it doesn't make any sense. Like, to me, it's just a bunch of just nonsense. Like, Kevin, you put yourself in this position. You're the one that went there. They gave you everything that you wanted. And now all of a sudden, you're talking about some fire the GM, fire the head coach. Now, don't get me wrong. If they ever decide to placate him, like, because I don't think any of us really think that Steve Nash is that great of a coach anyway. Granted. So, I mean, I don't know if they want to just throw him a bone and just say, all right, we'll get rid of Steve. And that's it. And then I don't know if they come down to that. I personally wouldn't, because, again, you're saying that you gave him all the power in the beginning, and then you said after the season that, we're making sure that we're doing what we need to do for our team. So basically saying we're taking the power away from him. So it's like, now what are you going to do? Are you going to give him back the power just so you can kind of get what you want, or to make the situation easier? I personally wouldn't at this point, like, because Kevin Durant doesn't have a leg to stand on. There's nothing he can do. He can't make you do anything. So it just depends on how bad they want to get rid of him, if they decide that, or if they just don't want to deal with the situation anymore, because it's been a long drama-filled season with them, starting from pretty much as soon as they got there. So I'll be interested to see. But if it was me, like, I probably wouldn't even respond yet. I understand why he did respond though, but I probably would have been like, Kevin, nobody's listening to you. Like, you can't make me fire the general manager and fire the coach when you have no way of getting out of this. You signed. And you signed early. And not to mention, you were the one praising the coach at the end of the season. So what is it? Like, it's just a mess.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this nonsense. Like, I refuse to believe that he's that petulant and spoiled to now all of a sudden want to displace the coach that he endorsed and got there. And like, who leaked this story? Who in the room leaked this story? Like, is it? But it's really not much to discuss. Like Octavia said, if they don't want to trade him, they don't have to, and they can just say either you play or sit out. Like, we're going to leave it up to you. You're under contract. Do what you want, and we're going to move on with our lives. But this is maybe it's a slow news week, but this is what I hate most about NBA coverage these days. Like, it's so drama and soap opera filled. It's just tiresome. Another word shouldn't be uttered about this until some action has been taken. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be there day one of training camp. So why are we even wasting our time? And if he's not, then so be it. But yeah, it's just annoying at this point. It's a shame that this is the type of stuff that dominates the headlines and gets attention, but it is what it is, man. This is the era we're in. But yeah, this is reached ridiculous levels.
Listen.
Yeah, to me, it's still a bunch of nothing. Like, everybody involved in this is a mess y'all created. Y'all brought folks in there. You let them run roughshod. You drew a line. Shocker, line not respected. We're here now. Like Ray said, I still want to, like, there's a lot of moving parts of this. Like, when I heard it, it's interesting because there's like I felt like a 48 hour delay between when, we saw, the report or whatever on Twitter, and then, mind you, all the shows that are all over everything, everybody tweets, puts on IG or what have you, it wasn't a topic for 2 days, and all of a sudden it was after, that got leaked, the quote-unquote ultimatum or whatever. I don't know what was said. I honestly don't care. You re-upped early out of everybody that was there, and you're here now. It is what it is. There's no way that the and we said this numerous times every time we talk about it. There's no way that a quick deal was going to be done for you. It's impossible. Numerous teams are going to have to be added. So you might as well just get comfortable. Like Ray said, like it's a bunch of nothing. And again, like it's that one report. I'm interested too to know what was leaked because there's a bunch of nonsense floating out there. And there's a couple folks that's been right on this stuff. A couple folks that's just been saying stuff. But again, that's Brooklyn's mess. That's Brooklyn's mess. With Joe Tsai, yeah, I'm not mad that you and your organization, y'all have drawn a line. That's cool, but like you should have drawn the line. Like they won, and it is what it is. But yeah, this era and whatnot, and like Ray said, I've been over the whole caring about how these dudes go about their business. It is what it is at this point.
Yeah, for me, it's something on a different level as far as this is why you don't kiss players' asses. This is why I love it. I'm loving it in a different way. I mean, obviously, I don't love how if all the reports are true and stuff, how they're acting like spoiled assholes, man. Like, and I don't like how people are simping for these dudes, not holding these dudes accountable. I think David Aldridge said it best. He said at some point these players got to learn to be accountable for what they do. You can't just say when things get tough or something don't go your way for once that I don't want to be here, I want out and stuff like that. You got people, some analysts, some people in their circles who just want to maintain ties to these players who just out here speaking on behalf of these players and they know they're wrong. And if the reports are true, once again, they know they're wrong. You got everything you asked for. So at this point in time, you need to buckle down, deliver. And at the end of the day, if I'm Joe Tsai, what have you brought to the Brooklyn Nets? It's New York. We gonna always have fans in the seats, man. Like regardless of who's on the team, we have to be absolute trash for people not to come. It's a basketball crazy city. So you haven't even delivered on why we did all this in the first place. Last time I checked, when I looked at my Barclays, it's Eastern Conference banners when Jay Kidd, Richard Jefferson, Kenyon Martin were there, and the ABA championships when the Dr. J and over there. They haven't brought no banners to that jump. So I'm like, what are we talking about here? But you want power like, say, a LeBron James and stuff. But last time I checked, LeBron has brought championships everywhere he's been. You jumped on board to get a championship somewhere where it was already something built. So this is a perfect example why, look, I'll work with you, but like Wilson said, this is a line we ain't crossing. You're not gonna tell us how to do our job. Look, I don't care how people don't like it. The man side owns the team. You're an employee. We're paying you to play basketball. It ain't the other way around. Get out there and do what you do best and let us do what we do best. All right? That's it. And if you don't like it, cool. This can't be a relationship and you can't play for us. Bye. And now people see why Pat Riley is the way he is. Because with these dudes and the money they're making now and the ego and the insecurity, it gets out of hand. And then you have this type of mess. And this is it's a big deal for me because what's about to come. And we all know that lockout's coming. Like the owners have been very, very quiet. They ain't been saying much. Not even Mark Cuban. Not what's my man Ballmer. They always talking in all season. They've been very, very quiet. So yeah, December, they can opt out this deal. Best believe you're gonna hear that report coming soon. And this is gonna be the very reason why, along with the stuff James Harden did, along with the stuff Ben Simmons did, along with the stuff a lot of people did, these dudes took it and just abused the hell out of this power. And it's gonna be sad because this is called a player empowerment era, but I think they're gonna mess around and mess up the money for future players in the near future. And you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to keep building the league so future generations can carry on. But they gonna pull that back now because they especially coming off the pandemic when they lost so much money. It's like we took a hit. We still get y'all everything. Y'all still acting like spoiled brats. Enough of this. Y'all got to understand what the reality is. And my thing is all these players have brands, including KD with the ballroom stuff. If these reports are true, I wonder how he will feel if employees step to him like he's stepping aside. I'm just saying, like, it's always different when the shoe's on the other foot. But I digress, man. So treat people how you want to be treated. See what I'm saying? You tired of Kyrie? Tell them get Kyrie up out of here then, if that's the case. But it's just on the basketball side, I'm with y'all. I don't even pay attention to it. I don't even dig no more. I'm also looking at it from how it's going to change the landscape of basketball overall in the NBA. That's why I'm paying attention to it. But all the extra drama and all, even the report that Kyrie came out talking about he tired of him from New York Post or whatever, I just dismissed it. I don't care if you're tired. Like, y'all already know how I feel about Kyrie. I just want to see you hoop. That's the only time I'm paying attention to you. When you speak, it means nothing because it depends on the day and what mood you're in. But it's just crazy if this is true that, for him to just say that, man, because he should know better. But, we'll see how it unfolds. The next question. Man. Yeah, I kind of figured this was coming. We're going to move to the NFL side. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said Tuesday the league seeks a tougher penalty for Deshaun Watson because the quarterback's actions were egregious and predatory behavior. Last week, the NFL formally appealed Watson's 6-game suspension, which was handed down by the NFL's disciplinary officer, Sue L. Robinson, earlier this month. At a league meeting called to formally approve the Denver Nuggets' new ownership group, Goodell was asked why the NFL appealed Robinson's decision and was seeking a suspension of at least a year for the Cleveland Browns quarterback. Goodell said, "We've seen the evidence." She was very clear about the evidence. She reinforced the evidence. There were multiple violations that were egregious, and it was predatory behavior. Just what are your thoughts on? We're going to start with you, Ray. Watson, pretty much, they're going after him for a year at least.
First of all, Goodell needs to stop with the we're doing this in the name of justice act. Like, we know the NFL doesn't care about any of that stuff. This is just from outside pressure. Dude, if we've been through this multiple times. When players do things against women, like the punishment never fits the crime, to be perfectly honest, man. Like, if they really cared, then Ben Roethlisberger would have been out the league. So I don't know. I mean, they're seeking a tougher penalty, cool, but people really need to start to call the NFL to task, with how they operate in their in their moral imperfections. Like, dude, y'all are a corrupt organization, man. I just can't put it any plainer. Like, so don't try to act like you're trying to do the right thing or you actually care. So yeah, if that was the case, then it would have never even got to this point. I'm sure you've had the evidence for a very long time now. You're just acting on it because why, I don't know. But yeah, it's a dog and pony show as far as I'm concerned. I really don't believe anything they have to say. We'll see how this plays out. And yeah, of course, they're going to seek a year because of the way the contract is set up. This is going to impact him the least, and financially at least. But yeah, it's like, why would you want a guy like that in your league, period, if you're doing this from a standpoint of of trying to do the right thing? But whatever, man. I'm not in that position. Goodell's going to do what he wants regardless. I seriously doubt we see anything added, and if it is, it won't be more than a year. So yeah, there's that.
Wilson.
Yeah, it's just a good opportunity for the NFL to get some PR, man. Let's not forget, for smaller issues, like Ray said, y'all have a history of not caring when folks commit any atrocities towards women at all. I forgot the punter's name for the Giants, but y'all knew what that man was doing for years and was quiet about it, didn't say anything, and that was proven and known. And y'all were just like, he's out the league now. Also, we've seen you be judge, jury, and executioner any other time. Yeah, to me, it's just a bunch of PR. It's not about anything but they're in a position to quote unquote look like they care in this moment. and give him a year suspension. And mind you, like Ray said, like keep in mind, like all of this, if you just pay a little bit of attention, like the Browns were ahead of it no matter what, like prepared for him to miss a year with a contract. His salary cap hit is like -5. All his money is cash, and his deal doesn't start until after the suspension they were preparing for. Like, it's just, this league is this league, man. Like, it's just PR, and what's gonna happen? He'll probably get a year. People are gonna give the NFL, try to give the NFL credit for it, and that's gonna be that. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say about that, I guess.
I'll tell you.
Again, I'm just tired of this whole saga, to be completely honest. What I hate is that like Roger Goodell is like pretending like he's not going to be the one to make the decision. Like at this point, like we already know, bro. Like I just wish that he would just own it at this point. You know, I'm the appeal is going to my designee, and the designee is sir. I'm sure he's already made the decision that it's going to be a year. Like it's going to be a year at this point. Like I just feel like, why are we elongating this whole situation? Like it's already been dragged out for what 2+ years now, it seems like. And if you're not going to take with the person that you appointed to make the decision originally, Sue L. Robinson's playing for the 6 games, and you don't feel like that's enough, you know, to now say it's going to go to a designee, like they're trying to make it look like they're being impartial, but like, come on. Like, I personally think it's going to be a year now. Like, I personally think that they are just going to do it because I personally think that Roger Goodell's already made up his mind and that he's already talked to whoever this person is, Anthony, somebody who's supposed to be now the designee, who's going to make the decision. So I wholeheartedly think it's going to be a year because that's what they want. But again, I agree with both of you guys about that. I think it's all for publicity, or it's just to really save face at this point. It's just that because there has been such a quote unquote uproar about the situation since it's happened, they're trying to be more firm or appear that they're being more firm on situations like this. So I think it's just for optics. You know, I don't think personally they really care about what happened or didn't happen. They just know that they have to deal with it because it's in the public eye. And there are people that are going to consistently talk about it until they, quote unquote, do something or do something substantial, because apparently a lot of people don't believe that the 6 games are long enough. So I'm just over it. Like, I just wish that they would come out right now and just say, okay, it's this or it's that. So everybody can kind of move on at this point. But I don't think, of course, like I said last week, I don't think that it's going to be over anytime soon, because I haven't read recently, but I know last week they were saying that if they do make it more than 6 games, then his camp is going to sue, and it'll be all types of nonsense. So I'm sure we're going to be talking about this for the rest of the season as well, regardless if Deshaun Watson plays or not. It's just a mess, and I just honestly wish that they would just come to a resolution at this point.
Yeah, my thing is, I think it's gonna be a year. I agree with Shaw, but these dudes need to make better decisions off the field. Period.
Absolutely.
Off the court, like it just come back to them. Yeah, we tired of it, but these fools acting like fools. Let's call it what it is. It ain't nothing to report bad about. They're not out here just doing dumb-ish, man. But as far as Roger Goodell, I mean, worse things have happened. Like taking a knee. So, that's my take on it. So he is who he is, but at this point, man, I just believe him. I guess you could say it how you want to view it. Sad news, but it's also good news because she's comfortable with it. Serena Williams announced plans to retire after the U.S. Open earlier today. Her resume, she currently has 73 singles titles, 23 Grand Slam singles titles, 14 Grand Slam double titles, 4 Olympic gold medals, and pretty much close to $100 million made over her career from tennis. Her quote via Vogue magazine: "It's the hardest thing that I could ever imagine. I don't want it to be over, but at the same time, I'm ready for what's next." Wilson, we're gonna start with you, man. Just quick thoughts on Serena hanging it up after this year, man.
Hell of a career. It's one of those things where her name and her sport is one of those things where you bring up the sport and you can't have a conversation without her being mentioned. which means you did exactly what needed to be done, where your name is synonymous with the sport that you played. Like, kudos to her for, again, a hell of a career. Grateful for a portion of it. Everyone has got to watch, and wish her a happy retirement, and why not win something, this last year? Why not?
Octavia.
Yeah, I mean, she's a GOAT. We go back and forth and we talk about who are the GOATs, not just in their sport, but just in sports, period. And she's one of them. I know we try to differentiate between, people who play on team sports and who play in individual sports. Like, she's that. She is one of the best athletes to ever play any game. And I'm happy that she is. I'll be honest, I'm happy that she is going towards that point, because it always bothers my soul when somebody who has had a great legacy and great career as her and just aren't able to really see when it's time to retire. Like we always say, father time. He always is going to catch everybody. And I feel like she's kind of been, struggling with that these last couple of years, whether it be, her own health, her injuries and things of that sort. So I always want to see people go out on top, especially with the legacy that she's created. And I think that she's given herself that opportunity to do that. I do think it's kind of a situation where, this was the first match she's won. And I think they said over 430 days. So over a year. So it's been a hard situation for her to kind of even get back to where she is now. And I just don't want her to continuously, put that type of strain on her body. I think they said she'll be 41 in September. Granted, we know 41's not old in regular years, but in athlete years, it's up there. So I think that it's good that she's going to be able to go out. And I'm glad that she announced it when she did, because I think that she deserves her flowers while she goes through these last couple of tournaments that she's going to go through. And I mean, I thank her, because as a young Black girl, like, I never thought I would ever care about tennis, like, ever. And it wasn't until seeing her and her sister Venus play that I actually understood the game of tennis, and now I actually like the game of tennis, and I watch tennis matches, and I understand tennis, because that's always the hardest part. People just watch it and don't even really understand what's going on as far as keeping track of the score and whatnot. So I thank her for opening up my eyes to other sports that aren't just the mainstream sports of basketball, soccer, football, maybe track or something like that. A lot of little girls nowadays, or before her, probably didn't care anything about tennis, and she's probably helped start so many young women's tennis careers. And she probably still will, granted, she's, like I said, I think she started when she went pro when she was 16 or something like that. I think it was 13. I take that back. Like, she went pro when she was like 13 or 14. And here she is getting ready to turn 41. She's had this long of a career and all the lives that she's touched. And I'm sure that, little girls are still going to be learning from her even when she does retire. So I just want to say, job well done, and she deserves everything that she receives.
Right.
Yeah, man. She's one of those people who you kind of feel like is just going to be competing forever, but but naturally you got to move on to something else. And I think she put it perfectly in her piece. Said she was evolving away from tennis. She seems at peace with the decision. She's doing it on her own terms, on her own time. I've always had a tough relationship with her, because I don't think tennis ever really deserved her. The grief they gave her entire career while being the best player to ever pick up a racket, it always bothered me, man. But she handled it with grace. She represented the sport. She and the level she ascended to, man, was just it's unheard of. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad she gets to get celebrated. I'm like, it's good that we're seeing the type of media coverage around it that we're seeing. Hopefully it continues until her final match. But But like Octavia said, man, she's on my short list for one of the greatest athletes ever. Like she's been dominant since my freshman year of high school. Like that's crazy, man. So yeah, I'm just a great career, man. Like what she's like what she did transcended sports. Like, it's one thing to be, the best ever at what you do, but Octavia, gave her perspective as a young black woman, seeing somebody that looks like you, just kind of dominate in a sport that really wasn't for you, and then doing it like she's wearing her hair how she wants, she's wearing the type of clothes she wants. Like, and the black athletes are, they always try to subdue us and kind of make us be more corporate or be more polished or what have you. But
Black athletes only. Seems like that's all part of society. I feel what you're saying.
yeah, no, I get you, man. But yeah, man, but I'm glad she did it her way. It probably it makes it that much more satisfying that even in the face of all that, she still became the best ever. So yeah, man, kudos to her. I hope she enjoys the next phase of her life, and just wish her all the success, and all the thanks to her, man, for doing what she did.
Yeah, simple. She's one of the best to ever do it. I mean, I got introduced to tennis. Like, my pops and the generation, their era was kind of big on tennis. Baseball and all that other stuff. Their kind of grew up on that. I was more introduced to tennis through Arthur Ashe. As a youngin, all the stuff he did on the court and off the court. And obviously, the way he passed away was a big deal. Then I followed it after that, Andre Agassi, all those guys, Pete Sampras, Navratilova, Everett. But then Venus came in. People don't even remember Venus was the big star at first, and Serena was just a little sister kind of tagging along. But Venus was the one that came in first and was just kicking ass. So that's when I started paying attention, because it's like similar to what Octavia said, someone that you could tell is from our type of environment that's doing it. And you saw with the bees and stuff like that. And I remember Serena couldn't get it right at first. It was Venus world. And she'd get there, her father, was more out in the open and, talk this nonsense. Like, no, I think the younger one's going to be better. She's more powerful. You'll see. He was saying that. And then one day it just happened. Like, it just clicked. And she beat her sister. And if you beat Venus, it ain't much to look at after that. It's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? And she kept her foot on everybody's neck. I like how she evolved from that little girl when she had braces and these, she older than us, but you know what I mean, just a young girl to a woman. I remember in college when she wore the cat suit, the white folks ain't like it. I keep it real. I'm in college, the sisters ain't like it because she had a body, and all the fellas like, hold on. What's going on? And like, turn away from them. And all the girls ain't like that, Johnny. She look like a man. Like, that's a fine man. That's how we dudes was carrying it. They ain't like that. But I like how she embraced being a black woman, being a sister, body and all. And that's what it's supposed to be. And she didn't bend from that. And like, yeah, I'm gonna wear these tight cats outfits. Yeah, I got a big ass. Y'all white girls just gonna have to deal with them. I'm gonna whoop your ass too on this court. So it's gonna be even worse. And she did. And she was unapologetic about being black. And I love that. It's too many of us that get to that level and they kind of forget, where they came from and who they are. And she didn't really do that, man. And that's my respect to her. At times I kind of cringe a little because she let them win a couple of times, but she would have a little outburst. I know she's human, but like, don't let them win, man. Don't let them win, because that's what they want, to criticize you and really come after you. Nah, just channel that, don't keep destroying them. And for the most part, she did that. I know for my wife, she played high school tennis and all that, man. When Serena came on, since I met her, it's like a Tyson fight. Everything shut down. Her friends, family, they go watch her. You know what I'm saying? So she definitely had an impact on, my family. But salute. Definitely one of the best to ever do it. Male or female, ain't even no gender involved. She's up there as far as, especially on the women's side, it ain't even close. She's she's damn sure the GOAT. So, just hope she has a better, second phase of life, so to speak, and I hope she don't go away from tennis. I hope she keeps working with the next wave, man, because they're going to need her. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think the new girls have that kind of, at least they haven't shown it, they have that strength to kind of thrive like she did, man. And a lot of that has to do with who raised her. Like her father wouldn't let her in and stuff like that. I don't know if these youngers today, they don't have parents like that no more. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to need somebody that can talk their language and really get them to understand. Like sometimes you just want to push through. Can't nobody save you. And that's what I'm looking at. But much respect always. And our last question, man, definitely got to talk about this one. Monday last night, New York Knicks stars Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, Obi Toppin, they all suited up. Played in Nike Pro City up in New York. Toppin had 25 points, Brunson 24, Julius Randle 18. Put on a bit of a show, but their team, the Hill SG squad, they lost by 13 to Team ALF, 110-97. Jordan Aaron for Team ALF scored 40 points, and Jordan Washington scored 40 points. Both former college standouts, playing high-level overseas ball. Also on Team ALF was Kadeem Carrington, who played at Seton Hall, current Kansas guard Kyle Cuff Jr., Desiree Bowie, Hofstra alum, Chris Hoop and Kevin Douglas, St. Francis Brooklyn alums, and Jim Couch alum, Gardner Webb sophomore, Julian Samaro. Definitely keep an eye on that. He's special. He put in the work as well. So my question to y'all is, a lot of people were clowning the Knicks trio for losing a pro-am, according to a bunch of no-names or whatnot. That's hilarious to me. I'm going to touch on that when y'all get done. But just what are your thoughts, first of all, on them showing up, and also people clowning them from losing like there weren't other pros on the other side of that. Getting back to you, Octavian.
Again, this is a much about nothing. It's just like of course they're trying to get out there, get in shape, get used to playing with each other with Jalen Brunson, of course, coming over to them this season. Like I don't know what people expect these games to be. I don't know if they expect these games to literally like count for the season once the season starts. Like we're gonna count these games too, count these as L's. Like to me, it's much about nothing. Like they just getting some run in, and probably most of it is just showing off for the fans, to be completely honest. So I mean, I don't even really take much of it with a grain of salt. Like it is what it is. But of course, it's always going to be somebody trying to make it more than what it actually is. Trying to make it, seem like they're not going to fit together and they're not going to play well as the Knicks, and all of those crazy storylines that, of course, we're going to hear as the season gets closer and closer. But then again, we're acting like they're the only three people that play for the Knicks. And then, like you said, you act like there isn't other talented people on the other side of the game, the other side of the ball, on another team. So again, like to me, it's much of nothing. Like this means nothing to me.
Right.
Yeah, people just telling on themselves, man. Like it happens, and like you said, and you pointed out, like you laid out the resume of the guys that were lining up against them. Like those are pros, high level college guys. Like they're not nobodies. That's the first thing. And then you touched on it earlier with the Kenner League. Like growing up where we grew up, we saw pros take L's all the time, man. At the Herbo, the Kenner League, Berry Farms, whatever league around here. So this is not surprising. I mean, of course, yeah, it's a nice, notch on the belt for the guys they playing against. They came out there and got at pros, but I'm sure they looking at them like just another basketball player, because as you pointed out, those are not the first pros they ever laced it up against. So yeah, it's just a lot of people on Twitter who never played, never seen high level basketball before, didn't grow up in the city with a strong summer league culture. Fortunately, I was raised the right way. But yeah, it's nonsense. They came out and people don't know what they want, man. Like first they complained about guys not getting in pro-ams and not getting wrecked in the summertime. And then when they do, they complain about they lost or what have you. But I mean, ain't like they was out there stinking it up. They hoop too, but they just happen to be on the losing side. You know, everybody doesn't win every single game they play. So people just need to grow up, man, and get a life, get outside.
Wilson.
Yeah, go outside, touch some grass, man. Like, people are still good at basketball even if they don't play in the NBA. It's like, I hate to be the one to tell you guys this. Darn it. Still talented people. Like, they're pros. Yeah, the NBA is not the only professional league in the world. Some of you guys are really good where they play at. Again, like Ray said, had me dying off the Rays the right way. But again, in pro-ams, it's pros playing pros and college kids. And, bro, it's a mutual respect there. Like, it's fine. Like, it's not an issue. And also, what are y'all complaining about? Like, you got to see him. It didn't cost what an NBA ticket costs. What are you complaining about? Especially in this economy. What tickets for sporting events cost? What are you complaining about? And like Ray said, bro, everybody doesn't win every game. Y'all were salivating over Braun being at the Drew League. They won that game by 1.
With DeRozan.
Well, I'm sorry, with Braun and DeRozan. Like, chill out. Y'all made fun of the other dude. Y'all's king won a pro-am game by 1, and y'all were acting like it was the final shot of a three-peat. Y'all have to go outside and touch grass. And after you touch it, sit there for a little while. Like maybe 30 or 40 minutes. Let the sun beat some sense into you. I don't understand what's wrong with y'all. It's just not that deep. It's a pro-am. The hooping. Someone has to win. Oh my gosh. Wow. Like, all these things can be true. It's just not that deep. And like Ray said, for some of y'all need to get cultured in this thing that you claim that you care about. Like, because all this show to me is like a bunch of y'all walking around super uncultured and shouldn't be speaking about something, because this is like 1 + 1 = 2. How are you even, like, what, you want a telegram? Professional player lost in a pro-am game against another professional player. Really? Like, they all play high level basketball is high level basketball. Like, what is wrong with y'all? But then again, y'all were the same dudes that were shocked when little European boy came over and told y'all all y'all was sweet and soft and has been doing what he wants to y'all. So I guess I don't know. I don't get it. I won't know. But it's sad, and I guess I'm just happy to be an old man yelling at clouds. Something's wrong with y'all. Like, it's weird. It's weird. Like, I know I enjoyed, what was it, the lockout when you got to see NBA players for the nothing.
Oh yeah, that joint was crazy.
Like, I don't remember people that day, like in that time, like, hey Cardell, did you know so and so lost to so and so? Oh my, no, we were like, oh my God, we're seeing these people for free. What is wrong with y'all? They're in a local gym. What is wrong with y'all? It doesn't matter if can you get in the building or not. If you got in the building, nothing but great memories. I've yet to see anybody that experienced that have like weird memories, and then y'all are out here like, a trio of Knicks players lost in a pro-am. What is wrong with y'all? What's wrong with y'all?
Yeah, for me, one reason I brought this up is because I don't like how people disrespect other guys in these pro-ams. Like, for one, it's hard as hell to get on a team in these pro-ams. You got to have you either got to know people, and to know those people, you got to have game, or you got to have a resume. You got to be able to play, because it's serious. It costs a lot of money. You don't get that many games, and those L's count. Like, it's felt around the city, dog. And then if you take too many L's, you won't be getting picked up too much more. You feel what I'm saying? So, as a guy who played in all these programs, and it's similar up in New York how we take it serious down here, being in high school, watching Kurt Troublesmith get Steve Francis and the boys 62 and get them L's, and arrived late, came late and still torched them boys, give them L's. I remember when we played in the Kennedy League, Jugo team, Southern, before we even played a game together, we beat the NBA, we beat the team with Moochie Norris and Walt Williams. My teammate Joe Flutter gave Moochie Norris work. My coach got to play. He's still trying to find it. Coach Hall got to play. Well, I crossed over Walt Williams and dunked on Moochie Norris. We got them up out of there. But then later that season, they brought Dave Homies from overseas that was playing in EuroLeague to scrimmage us. We didn't get a game off them. They bust our ass, and we in season. They came in there like, nah, we ain't going for all that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we put in work so much in our summer league. We had all days. All days was our scrimmage to introduce us to the our college crowd, the city and everything like that. They came to Southern Maryland and played us all days, and they were the Goodman League champs. So when you play in all this, you understand his talent, but you're not all these dudes. Even if they got NBA resume, they just right now, they just another dude in the way, and I'm gonna go at you. And that's what being a competitor is. It's just too many simps out here claiming to think they know about basketball. They never lived it, dog. Like it's amazing to me. And I'm like, y'all disrespecting these dudes that I know y'all was cheering for when they were in college. Because I know y'all was in college or something in that city cheering for them. Like, oh man, they the next thing. Then when they don't go to the league, it's like to y'all, they never existed. Carrington's a bad boy. I remember when I first started the media game, he was in Nike Global Challenge with Devin Booker, all those guys putting in work. He made the all Global Challenge team. These guys could play, man. You saw they both had two dudes had 40. And also, we just saw I know everybody saw the point guards doc, dog. I ain't gonna lie. Summer program pickup ball in New York, that might be the only city that may have us as far as how serious they take it. You feel what I'm saying? Because around here, guys are play, but they too cool. Out there, that shit's life and death. Like it's like my manhood on the line every time. And then they're playing in like 10 damn leagues all summer, dog. Like the young boy Julian Samara that I said played with Jim Couch alum, he had played in 2 games before that. Both outside, 2 different leagues across New York City. So, of course, he coming there, he warmed up. Like, oh, the next day, say no more. I'm about to show Jalen Brunson what's coming, dog. Let me go at him, man. Let me see what it is. And he did. That's what being a competitor is all about, man. But I don't know when this shift happened Like, we came to the gym back in the day, see Kurt Smith, Greg Jones, and all those guys. We wanted to see, like, can y'all beat Steve Francis, Moochie, Walt Williams, Jerome Williams, all those guys? Can y'all destroy these NBA guys? Sam Cassell, all those guys. We live for that. Now it's like, how dare y'all step on the court with these NBA guys? Y'all nobody. Y'all beneath them. It's like, no, they not. They've been playing against them all their lives any damn way. So come on, dog. And Kurt Smith is an elder to Steve Francis. Steve Francis is a young boy. This Kurt, and he showed he was a young boy. Like, all right, you can do all that dump, but this 62 gonna hurt. So just show respect. I know that's a rare thing these days. Everybody just quick to disrespect. It goes back to all the other questions we pose, like why are they jumping on them? Because people just live to wake up in the morning and be disrespectful to get some traction, get some attention, man. But it's old, man. But like I said, man, first of all, shout out to those 3 for even coming to Pro City and playing and putting on for those fans for free, man. That's a good way to get the crowd behind, especially what's going on in Brooklyn, dog. Good Lord. But that's all. That's dope. And they in the hood. Like, I went there earlier this summer to see a game and go there. That joint is literally a couple blocks from where we have Jim Couch at, My Haven and stuff like that. That part of the Bronx is where Fat Joe and all them came up, dog. That's not a sweet spot. So when the game over, you might want to hit that train quick. Because ain't no telling what can happen, man. Like, it was some activity. If you get on Twitter, there was a lot of activity going on after the game. I'm going to just leave it at that in the street. But it's the Bronx, though. You know, it is what it is, man. So for them to come there, and then, you know, it's always the Wolves are always lurking, but they come there and put on for the fans. That says a lot, man. And that's what it's about, because a lot of those fans can't afford, the damn show can't afford in New York to go to Madison Square. Well, hell no. They can't afford to go to Knicks games. You see what I'm saying? So they got a chance to see those guys. And right now, for them little kids or whatever in the hood that can't afford it, Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, they're going to remember that forever. You never know who's inspired. Like, I got in basketball when Michael Adams was with the Bullets, and he came to Hillcrest Heights Rec Center down the street from Iverson Mall, and came, and the Bullets just put on a clinic teaching us about basketball. And I got a chance to guard him. And that's what sparked me to want to play basketball. Him crossing my little young ass up. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it's about. You remember stuff like that. I couldn't afford to go to my family couldn't afford to go to no damn Bullets games, especially in Orlando. We didn't even have a car at the time. So those things are what matters most, man. So they need to look at that. This doesn't dictate anything. Hell, they haven't even practiced together yet, dog. Like, come on, man. These dudes, like, chill out, man. It was something for the community, dog. And that's what it is, man. No, don't get me wrong. yeah, you do play to win, but it's not the end of the world, man. You know what I'm saying? So, but always remember, like Wilson said, there are great basketball players all around this globe. If you consider yourself a basketball player, you might want to check out FIBA and all that from time to time and just see where the action comes from. You do understand these are the same guys that made Luka who he was, and he came over here as a rookie like, yo, it's easier to score in the league than it is overseas. Just keep that in mind. That's all I'm going to say.
Y'all really do need to touch grass, man. Across sports, y'all need help. Y'all are killing me each and every day. What's it called? They turned last week. I'm gonna say real quick because it just bothers me. Last week, Fred Warner and Brandon Ayuk squared up real quick. People took it like it. I tell you talk about a melee or whatever. That's what the Giants actually had. They just squared up. Everybody rushed in, and that was that. It's training camp. It's offense versus defense. It's what's this word? Competition. If the defense is kicking your butt over and over again, someone's going to get sick of it. If Fred was trying to get a reaction, Brandon gave him one. Brandon's one of them dudes that doesn't talk. So that's all they wanted for Brandon was just to get a response because they know something's in there. Because you wouldn't be in the NFL, there's no fire in you, anything. He just doesn't talk a lot. So
and
guess who's having
degrees.
It's
a 1,000 degrees out there. It's been a hot ass summer. That alone would have me in a couple fights. So I ain't gonna lie.
That's what I'm saying. So they took it. They turned it into this big thing. I'm sitting here and people at the Bears like, oh no, they ain't squared up once or twice. Touch grass. Like everything in sports isn't exciting. Just touch grass. They all is there a beef? No, there's not. It's sports.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, y'all been killing me. I need a regular season of every sport to start because y'all are not doing training camp and preseason stuff right. Y'all are putting me through it right now, man.
They're
really are. But be more quietly. Stop manufacturing nothing. Newsflash in NFL training camps. Defense is ahead of offense. We've been writing that since the beginning of time. Relax, y'all. Just relax, man. Want to thank y'all for tuning in this week. We truly appreciate it. As always, we'll be back next week with even more. We'll have updates from our respective segments. And we'll see what Carter has for us next week in Rapid Fire because who knows who's going to do what in professional sports. Again, y'all are trying to ride this crazy activity through the summer all the way to the fall. I need y'all to please chill at some point in time. As always, don't forget to get over to thefocustv.com. We'll have Mystics Outlook this weekend as well as they close the regular season. So follow the Focus TV and all your social media mediums. Y'all have a great evening.